Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about The Black Phone, a new movie that just came out last week. It's a short story based on a short story by Joe Hill, who is the son of Stephen King, and stars Mason Thames as Finney, Madeline McGraw as Gwen, his younger sister, Jeremy Davis as Terence, their father, and Ethan Hawke as the Grabber. So the movie is directed by Scott Derrickson, who also did Sinister with Ethan Hawke. He did The Exorcism of Emily Rose, he done Deliver Us from Evil, and he also did the MCU's Doctor Strange, the first movie. So he's becoming a really good horror director, this guy is. You kind of call this a horror or maybe a psychological thriller. A lot of people try to do them into the horror basis of this category. The story is pretty much obviously about the Grabber, Ethan Hawke's character, who kidnaps young kids, teenagers, and murders them. He does. So this one's about he captures Finn, has him in the locks him in a soundproof basement. In the basement is a black phone, disconnected. He gets told by the Grabber that it doesn't work, but for some reason Finn can hear it ringing. So every time it rings, Finn picks it up, and kind of on the end of the phone is a different victim each time. So most of his story, Finn's story in this, is talking to the victims, and they're kind of giving him ways of trying to escape. Not always successful. They ain't. Finn does kind of have a story arc in this where it plays out at the end of what he has to do. You kind of guess it from the beginning of the movie, really, and that because he's a bullied boy who never really fights back. So this movie is about him fighting back, really. It is. So, and then you have his sister Gwen. Like I said, I think if I'm said sorry, is like a clairvoyant. She can see visions of these kids getting kidnapped, and she told one of the victims' sisters, who tells the police. So you have a couple of detectives that get involved as well with her about how does she know this stuff and all that, and she has to unfortunately tell them about the visions and that. You also get their father Terence, who is an alcoholic because their mother and his wife was kind of a clairvoyant herself. She could see things and all that does happen, but it overwhelmed her and that, and she commits suicide, you hear in the movie. So pretty much you get most of the movie is about them, Finn trying to escape, Gwen trying to find him and that. It's a weird movie. It's not weird as the thing. I enjoyed it overall, but it does have it could have been a great horror. It could have really been a great horror psychological thriller movie. It is, but unfortunately for me, it didn't hit the few beats. It didn't, which I will go into my likes and dislikes. But first off, I will do my likes, which is the acting in this is really good. The kids do a stellar job. It is very tense, like a very horrible scene where Terence says he got visited by detectives, so he punishes Gwen and all, and he's whipping her with the belt and all that, and the acting in it is it's brilliant acting because you really feel for her. And you have Finney as well, who's standing in the background angry, but he doesn't do anything. And yeah, it's a very tense scene it is. And yeah, probably one of the, unfortunately for this movie, that was probably the most tense scene in there. Unfortunately, there's not much horror in this movie for my liking and all that, which I'll get into my dislikes. But the acting in this is brilliant. Ethan Hawke is kind of a standout. His character is similar to the one from Split, James McAvoy's character. Not as in he's got a split personality, but his emotions have really split. So like 1 second he's really happy, not happy, but he's more jolly, he's talking to Finn. The next he's angry. There's a scene in it as well where he kind of Finn gets told he plays a game. The Grabber does. He keeps the door. He doesn't lock the door properly, but he's waiting upstairs with a belt, and he's waiting for him to come out so he'll beat them. So it's kind of like a game where he needs to do that to progress onto the next part of the game. But if he doesn't, the grabber doesn't know what to do. So you can say it's kind of like a split. I see more of a split emotional personalities, to be honest. Visuals in this are really good as well. Obviously, it's not visuals and is as in CGI or stuff like that. But yeah, camera work, cinematography is very good. If you've seen Sinister, kind of reminded me a little bit of Sinister. It did, but not a whole lot. But more for when Gwen has visions, it kind of plays like an old video. You know, like in if you've seen Sinister, when they're playing the old videos in that, kind of plays similar to that. It does. So you get a nice little similarities between them two movies, but yeah, visuals very, and the mask in it is very, very spooky. It's like comes in a couple of parts, so he wears different parts, and that during how his emotions are during the movie and that. So yeah, you can either have a smiley face with like the devil horns on the top, or you won't have the devil horns and you'll have the smiley face down the bottom on its own, maybe a frown on one, and then yeah, it's very different compared to what his emotions are at the time. It is. That mask is designed by Tom Savini, the great visual effects artist. So it's a very nice mask indeed. It is. But that's kind of my likes. I go into my dislikes now, and my only dislikes are kind of the subplots of the movie. So, like I said with Gwen, she has scenes with cops and her visions and that. I don't personally think they played it enough in this. I think this movie could have been another 15-20 minutes where they could have played a bit on that, and also the the dead kids. You see a little bit with them, but you don't really get enough with them and all that. So you get little bits and bobs, you do. But I think they could have delved with that a little bit more, especially one of Finn's friends, who's the last person to get kidnapped. You kind of only see him towards the end of the movie as dead and all that. So I know they're building up for it, but I think they could have... Personally, I think they only did one kid that really was very good. The thing, and that's the kid's name in the film is called Vance, and he was like a kind of a violent kid and that. So they have a very good scene with that. But overall, with the kids, I wish they could have done a little bit more of it. I should say with my visuals for the kids is in the likes, actually. I should have, for some of the kids, how they portray him on the screen. So when he's talking on the phone, you kind of see their dead bodies, but they're walking around and all that in the back, where he doesn't see them all the time. He sees one or two, I think, a couple of times he does, but that's very nicely done for the visual part of how they portray them on screen when he's talking to him on the phone. So when he's talking, they're talking, but you hear him as their phone voice. So that's very good. But back onto the dislikes, yeah, the detectives and the dead kids could have been a bit better. They do have another subplot with the brothers, the brother of the grabber. It is who, like, the police are going door to door speaking to him, and he's like trying to help the police. So you have one of them characters who's trying to piece it all together and that. He only has really a couple of scenes in the movie, and one of them's towards the end and all that, which is like a pivotal point. But yeah, the subplots of this movie, I think, could have been done better, could have progressed. There's no urgency or like terror in this movie when he's in the basement. You don't. For me, I didn't feel he was in... They didn't show him enough in danger. So it was like each time he was trying to escape, like the dead victims were telling him ways of escape, trying to escape. I didn't feel enough dread of he was going to get caught or anything like that. There's only one scene in the movie where that happens. I won't spoil it. But even that, I don't think was played good enough. I think they could have been done better. But yeah, overall, I liked the movie. I give it a 6 out of 10 average. I think it could have, if they sorted out the subplots a bit better, extended them, done them a bit better. This movie could be a good 9 out of 10. Could have been a really good. But like I said, the acting's great, the visuals, directing, all really good in this. It's just unfortunate for the subplots and the story. Could have been a little bit better to progress the story and to give us a bit more terror, a bit more dread. You know, worrying a bit more about Finn. But like I said, no film's perfect. This one ain't. But I do look forward to seeing it again. I probably wouldn't say go out to the cinema to see it. I'd probably wait for it to come on VOD or streaming or something like that. I would. It is to see it. But if you're a horror fan, go and see it in the cinema. I don't always say don't go into the cinema to see stuff. But I think this one, it's only an hour and a half long. It is, but that's before the credits, so it's not a long movie. It's not. It kind of flies by, to be honest. But yeah, it's a good movie, which could have been great. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below and tell me if you're going to go and see the movie, or if you have seen it, tell me what you thought of it. I like to hear other people's opinions on movies, to my own and all that, because like I said, opinions are subjective. Nobody's is the same. Nobody's right. Nobody's wrong. It ain't. So I like to hear other people's opinions on films. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time.